Hi everyone, welcome on this brand new Lens Dev stream. This is the second one of the series of them. So yeah, you will get to meet like lots of the team Lens. And today we're having Lauri and Jari. I'm Elodie, I'm Lens Community Manager. I'm really happy to have you here. You will get to ask all of your questions. You will get to learn how it feels to be part of Team Lens and to learn about our latest releases. So guys, who wants to start introducing themselves?
Yeah, I can go first. So, hello everyone. I'm Lauri, and yeah, I'm one of the original Lens guys. We started implementing Lens already a few years ago, and now I'm working as engineering manager on Team Lens at Mirantis.
My name is Jari and one of the original founders of Lens. Many years ago, we started the project, and at the moment, working as the architect here at Mirantis, related to all topics around Lens.
Okay, so you've been like Team Lens from the beginning or the early beginning. How would you describe Lens to someone who you are just meeting and who's like, Kubernetes what?
It's very hard to explain. You first need to know the level of the person who is asking this, because if you need to start from Kubernetes, Lens is not making any sense without knowing some details about Kubernetes. So yeah, I'm always saying it's like if you need to orchestrate your server-side applications, and there's a technology called Kubernetes, and for Kubernetes you obviously need some fancy dashboard, and we have a desktop application that is making the life easier if you need to work with Kubernetes.
If the person doesn't actually know anything about Kubernetes, it's really difficult to explain why Lens is so awesome. But if a person already uses Kubernetes, then it's really simple to explain, because it makes your life so much easier. And Kubernetes doesn't really have a UI, and Lens provides quite nice UI. So it's really, people will get it if they use Kubernetes usually.
Okay, so and how does it feel to you to be part of Team Lens? I mean, especially since you've been basically creating Team Lens, so you saw it evolve from the very beginning. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact year when we started the original Lens project, but it's quite many years ago. And the origin for the initial Lens kind of like product was actually started even before. We had a different kind of orchestrator, which we had an UI, which resembled quite a lot what Lens is today. But it was web-based UI. And also the initial version of Lens was a web-based UI that you had to install to each cluster, and it was a bit cumbersome. But yeah, we were a quite small team back then, and it has been a quite amazing ride from the initial versions that we launched. Then to have the desktop version of Lens, and adding new features, multi-cluster capabilities, fine-tuning things, and building up the team, and having a new people within the team. So I think it has been a quite amazing ride these past few years.
How different is it within Team Lens now compared to day one? Like, how bigger is the team? How is the atmosphere? How is like the brainstorming process? How different is it?
I don't know. Team is bigger now. I think we have something like almost 40 in total. But I think the atmosphere is the same. We have like this startup mentality that we are brainstorming crazy ideas, try to poke something and see if it's going to work. And I think it's very great atmosphere for working with Team Lens. So we have multiple teams, but I think we are sharing the same attitude for working. So
it's not exactly the same as in the early days because we were so small team and we were mostly working at the same office, before the pandemic came in and stuff like that. So nowadays, most of us are remote and it's a bit different, but I would say it's still great. And we still have kept the kind of like startup mentality.
So what do you mean by startup mentality? I mean, I know, but
we are not sure what features are going to be those kind of features that will fly. So instead, we are trying to figure out and do some proof of concepts of features and eventually get there, see what is the killer feature and what needs more attention and maybe some love.
Nothing to add to that. So basically, we still have kind of like the mentality to kind of like, or the freedom to try different things, try to learn and get feedback from different features or different experiments that we do. And based on that, try to build a better product. So I think that's the key there.
So talking about that, there's been quite a few new releases lately. I mean, there are always new releases within Lens, but I've been told that one of the last releases was actually something that the users have been asking for years.
I think it's one of the most wanted feature for Lens for many years, it sounds quite simple, and it also might sound a bit stupid. Why do we have it right now and not before? But there is quite a bit of kind of like a story behind this. So, but the feature that we now have is actually resizable columns for the tables. Quite many views within the Lens application is based on tables or table-like views that are constantly updating, and there's lots of information coming in from the Kubernetes API, and sometimes you might have long names or some information that is too long for the table. And in the past, it was a bit kind of like cumbersome because you didn't see all of it, or you have to buy a bigger monitor, or try something to fit it into the application. But now finally we have these resizable columns, so you can just resize the column and see the full text there, or you can even kind of like reorder the columns if you want to have them in a different manner that we have designed. So that's the feature that we now finally have. And it has been long coming, and one of the big reasons why it took so long is actually the performance related things. So it's not that easy to build kind of like UI component that is working well for all the users that we have. So there might be huge clusters, lots of data coming in from the Kubernetes API, and everything needs to feel like butter smooth on the application. So that has been one of the big reasons why it took so long to get here, but we are proud that we now have it finally.
Yeah, I remember there have been few attempts to fix this, and I think we finally got the solution for this. Of course, there are always room for improvements, but now we have some solid foundation that we can base our work on.
Yeah.
So how are the resizable columns helping DevOps work in Lens?
Um,
I mean, what does it change? Explain me, because I'm a bit of a noob with Kubernetes myself, which makes me like the perfect person to ask you these kind of questions.
Is for example, you might have a quite long workload name. The application name itself might be quite long, and then Kubernetes adds kind of like a postfix to that. So the end result is something that is quite long, and of course the Lens application cannot know beforehand how long names you will have in your deployment. So before resizable columns, you didn't actually see all the data within the table. You have to click the row to see all the details and the full name. But now you can just drag the column and resize it, make it wider so that you can see the full name, and that way you don't have to click around all the time to see the full name. Does that make sense?
It
I hope.
completely makes sense.
Yeah, and previously it was us who said what columns will get what with it, but now you can choose what is the meaningful information for you and decide what is the correct size of that column. If there are some data that you are not interested in, you can just narrow that column and keep an eye on those information that is most valuable to you. So.
And can you explain to me, like, I'm a user, I have like this great ID, I'm going on like Lens forums and I'm posting in the Lens category. I'm doing like a bit of advertisement for the Lens forum very discreetly. And I'm like, hey, I want to post into the feature requests part of the forum, and I'm posting there. Then what's happening? What's the process within the team to decide, oh, this request is actually really nice, we should work on it? Who decides that? How does it work? Are all the requests like considered?
Of course, every request is considered, and I think it depends on what kind of request it is. So if it's something that is quite easy to fix or implement, then it's probably just the team member who kind of like does the magic, and it will be in upcoming releases. But if it's something that requires more effort and design work and stuff like that, then it's bigger team that will decide the priority and put it on the roadmap and have a proper kind of like design process for that.
Yeah, no, of course, it depends on how generic the feature request is. So if it's applicable for all Kubernetes users, then it will get the higher priority. And if it's just your company use case, very, very niche thing, so then it might take more time to get that on our to-do list.
Okay, yeah, because you have quite a to-do list. I'm seeing it, and you're busy. You're constantly busy, or at least that's what I'm seeing. And talking about busyness, so you're each part of kind of a different team within Lens. How are your teams like working together? How does it work?
We are doing everything that is related to Lens ID, Lens business IDs, Lens Pro subscriptions, licenses. So we have a small team that is doing all the stuff related to that, and typically we are looking every week that what are the aim for the next week, what are we estimating that we can achieve, and then discussing with the issues or feature requests we have, and working together to make first the specification the best out of there that is clear and meaningful, and then we start to implement those or assign those tasks typically there are team members who are, how would I say, they are the most familiar with the area, and they start working on that issue. And yeah, once we have those features ready, issues fixed, we are testing those, and basically whenever we are confident, we can deploy those to production. So because Lens Business ID is a software as a service product running in a cloud, we can deploy more often, of course, compared to Lens desktop app.
I'm just jumping around. You're both Finnish, so all the three of us are living in Finland. I'm not Finnish myself, I'm French. At start, Lens, that wasn't called Lens at the very beginning, was fully Finnish, if I'm understanding correctly. How was it to integrate more international members in the team?
I think even the original product had team members kind of like outside from Finland or originated outside from Finland. So it has been quite smooth process basically, because we have been used to that since the beginning, right, Lauri?
Yeah, I think we have been very international team from the beginning. And yeah, I think most of our developers are still living in Finland, but not everyone is Finnish citizens. So
yeah, like me, for example.
yeah, but yeah, so it never have been problem for us. They are great people, no matter what they speaking in mother language. So
I didn't realize that the team was so international at first. That's my bad, I guess. I thought like it was more concentrated in that then. You got like all the international experience. Yeah, because I mean, we'll see other people in other live streams, and you will see that some people in the team are like in Canada, for example. Mario from last time was in Germany. So yeah, I guess it actually makes things a bit easier sometimes for stuff that are related to support, for example, because it means that there's a good chance that there will be a team member knowing the answer available at any time.
So it's forcing us to like write all the specifications more detailed. So usually in the past we could discuss freely on a face-to-face, but now we are working asynchronously. So we need to really write down some text that is understandable for everyone.
So when you guys are attending events for Lens, you're representing Lens during events. So which one is the next one that you will be attending? And I would also very much like to hear about like which one was your favorite, your absolute favorite, and why?
The next one, AWS Raiment in Las Vegas. That's one of those events where we have been almost every year for quite many years, I believe. And it's one of those, super big events where, most of the software vendors in this ecosystem will be around, and of course, a lot of end users. And it's massive event basically. A bit exhausting because it's so big, but still great fun.
Is it your favorite one ever that you've ever done?
Maybe not, because it's so big. I personally prefer a bit smaller events, but like, for example, KubeCons were in the past. Nowadays it's also quite big, but in the past it was a bit smaller. I did like those quite a lot.
I remember the first DockerCons when everything was new. People were very, very interested and curious how this whole containerization will make the difference, and no one really knew that what's going to happen, and yeah, then came Kubernetes and everything is boring. But yeah, the first DockerCons, there were some unique in the air.
When was it?
2015.
I think I still have a T-shirt from that event. I think it was 2015. So yeah.
Is it a good T-shirt? Is it a nice T-shirt? Do you still wear it?
Yeah, at least
sometimes.
Which color is it?
I think it's gray.
Oh,
yeah,
Was
I
it
think
gray?
the first one was a dark gray, then a bit lighter gray, but
yeah, I've only been to KubeCon, like this year's KubeCon as a Kubernetes event, and I came back with lots of T-shirts.
yeah, it's it's funny. There are people. There's big queue on the booth, and everyone wants just T-shirts. So I'm always wondering what they are doing with all those T-shirts. But maybe you you will tell.
I don't know. I have a big pile of T-shirts now. I have to say that I was like, attracted by the novelty of it. Like people would just give me T-shirts, and now I'm like, oh, that's a lot of T-shirts. And I'm happy that I'm not going to be to all of the events. T-shirts and socks. Weirdly, I don't know if you got socks, but yeah.
Yeah, I have quite many socks from the conferences, but nowadays I'm not allowed. Yeah, too many shirts, too many socks. It's just too much. So.
Well, can you really have too many socks?
I don't know. Yeah,
Is it
it seems
same?
so. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I'm feeling like I can never have too many socks. So we don't have the lens socks yet.
No, we don't. But I think we had a very nice looking skateboard at some event. I'm a bit jealous about it.
Yeah, we had it.
That's pretty cool.
I think it was some KubeCon.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And you didn't get one?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so reInvent, Lauri, you will be there too, right?
Yes, I will be there. Huge events, and yeah, it's great to see all the people. Usually they are very happy Lens users, but yeah, like Jari said, they are quite exhausting events as well. Like tens of thousands of people you need to discuss, and but yeah, it gives some power to and energy to see all those happy Lens users.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm of course dealing a lot with the community on the forums and on social media, and our users are usually very passionate about it. I mean, it's not only a tool, you can feel that they are passionate about it, which is really cool. And I'm also just saying we are starting like an ambassador program. You guys know about it also, and it's called the Lens Champions. And I will put a link in the description of the video once it will be like officially posted, and you will be able to apply if you want to. So it's really cool because you will be able to talk like more directly to the team, including Jari and Lauri, for example. This is nice. And let's go back to Lens. Let's talk about the Lens Control Center, for example, which is one of the biggest releases that we had this year for larger enterprises.
Maybe the main feature of Lens Control Center is single sign-on, where organization can configure their own SSO provider and allow users to sign in to Lens ID with their company credentials on their company authentication system. So they don't need to create any username passwords on Lens ID. Just sign in, start using, activate licenses, and start using Lens Desktop. Some other features like parent-child account management. So if you are large organization and you have multiple teams, but you want to consolidate all the subscriptions to your master account, so you will have a single view for all subscriptions, but those teams' child accounts can manage the Lens subscriptions. So it's for those big enterprises. And also you can disable and enable Lens features for your organization. Like if you are in an air-gapped environment, you can turn on air-gapped environment, and then Lens is not making any connections to public internet. And if there are some features that, for example, Lens desktop Kubernetes is not running on your environment, you have some Windows environment that is very restricted, then you can disable that feature and your users are not seeing that feature on Lens desktop.
Okay, so you mentioned quickly the Lens LDKs, so the Lens desktop Kubernetes. What are they?
Yeah, I think it's a very cool feature of Lens Pro. You basically can run local Kubernetes on your desktop, and yeah, it comes with built-in Docker. So like I'm heavily using that when I'm doing some local development. So I'm running LDK on my Lens, and it's integrated to my VS Code. I'm coding on VS Code and seeing all the results on my workloads are running inside that LDK, and I can use my browser and see all local development stuff that is running on my machine. And yeah, because it's coming with Docker, I can build Docker images. I can run my integration tests against that local Docker container. So I'm running Postgres container on Docker, and my integration tests are using that database. So it's very handy for local development.
Jari, do you have a tool like this within Lens that you like to use also?
LDK. But
Anything?
yeah. LDK is also quite heavily used on my laptops, on all my test laptops and computers, because it's so convenient. But one other feature of Lens Pro is this security center, which I'm quite happy about, because nowadays I'm focusing a lot of my resources and team resources on security side, and the security center will give me quite good insight what I have running on my development cluster or some test cluster, or even on a production cluster. So it's easy to spot if there is something critical going on there. So that's one of my favorite features.
Yeah, the Lens Security Center was released at the beginning of the year also. I mean, first trimester-ish of the year.
Yeah. In the first version, I think we had only the kind of like image scanning capabilities, but nowadays it also has kind of like Kubernetes resource scanning, so it will spot if you have any mistakes in, for example, deployments, or you accidentally embed some secrets to your, deployments or images and stuff like that. And it can even detect if you have some access control mistakes, or you accidentally give too many rights to some service accounts or other users. So that kind of things that usually is really hard to spot from the Kubernetes, but through the security center, it's quite convenient to check if there is something bad going on within a cluster.
in the past you needed to scan manually all those images, but nowadays you can install a Privy operator that is automatically scanning when new image is appearing to your cluster. This security center will automatically scan, and you will see immediately if there are some vulnerabilities. So it's very handy.
Okay, we are receiving like some love emojis. I guess I can call them like this in the chat. So that's really nice. I mean, I don't know your experience. We talked a bit about events and the users being passionate. I worked in gaming before working for Lens, so you can imagine that it was quite different. And I was surprised during the KubeCon in Amsterdam this year to see how many people would just come to the booth, the Lens booth, and say, "Oh, I love Lens. I'm just here to tell you how much I love Lens." Is it your experience too?
Yeah, I think it's the same same on every event. So I think last year reInvent, there was some guy who wanted to take a picture with the whole team Lens. So we had a very nice group photo. And yeah, it's very nice to see those, and I like those discussions. And of course, if there are some feature requests or something is not working, it's very nice to discuss about those, because we are looking those things from our side and not always thinking that how some users might want to use this other way. So it's very fruitful discussions.
Did you think that Lens would get so much love? I mean, besides being like a beloved tool and a very useful tool, that it would just get so much love on top of that, not just be considered useful, you know?
Nobody knew in the early days that people will fall in love with the product as much as they do today. So it has been still a bit of surprising, at least to me. Of course, we knew that there is potential and it's a good thing and useful and stuff like that, but it's still always kind of like surprising when you hear from the end users how much they love the product. So, and of course, that motivates us to make things even better. So yeah.
In a way, it's a surprise, because when you are developing and implementing Lens features, and typically you will see only those issues, something is not working or something is bugging people. So you are not always see those happy users, because I know that who is going to report that yes, this feature is working like expected, and it's very handy. But after seeing all those troubles and issues with users, it's very, very nice and encouraging to get that positive feedback as well.
Oh, that's nice. I like it. So we're closing to the end, where we're getting closer and closer. So can you guys tell me a fun fact about yourself? So it can be like any kind of fun fact. It can be linked to Lens, it can be linked to events, it can be linked to Kubernetes or anything, development in general, whatever. Just a fun fact.
I can try first. Not sure if it's a fun fact, but the way I started programming really long time ago, it was with my first computer that I had. It was called Commodore 64. And back in the days, of course, you didn't even have proper internet or internet at all. And you had to learn to program through these magazines, which might sound a bit funny or interesting or crazy. But you had these computer magazines that had kind of like programs written on paper. And then you try to type those programs into the computer and see if they work. And that's how my programming career started. And it feels like really stupid now that I think about it. But those were the first steps. to learn how to program it, some language. So,
yeah, I remember those days. You end up writing code like 2 days, and eventually your program didn't work because there was some typo in line, I don't know, 200, because you didn't know what is the issue there, because you really couldn't program, so you throw away that code and start from the beginning.
Yeah.
But did you know what you were programming? I mean, did you know what you were coding for?
Not really,
Yeah, I only saw the end result. It was some fancy game or something, and then I was eager to start typing without knowing anything about the programming. But yeah, slowly it improved.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know that these magazines existed for programming. I mean, I had magazines like this for gaming where you would have like tips for a specific game or something like this, but I didn't know that you had magazines with coding. But that actually kind of makes sense now that you're talking about it.
Yeah, it was before the internet. How other way you could get some examples.
So I guess the arrival of internet changed your life, your developing life.
Yes,
indeed. Yeah.
And nowadays, Lens and the internet. That's, I mean, they're working quite well together. Is it difficult to make a tool like this that is available to everyone all the time through the internet, and that is also like dependable on it?
It's not that easy, even though, of course, Lens is available from internet, but the wide array of kind of like environments where Lens is being used, it's not always guaranteed that you have internet connection or any kind of connection except to some cluster. So it might be totally air-gapped environment or an environment where basically there is no internet. So Lens has to work even without internet connection. But of course, it usually requires some kind of network so that you can connect from your computer to the Kubernetes cluster. But
oh, we're far away from these magazines, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, we have a chat GPT nowadays. You can type some questions and get the source code out of it. So it will be easy.
Isn't it cheating a bit?
I don't know.
Well, that's a question maybe for a next dev stream.
Yeah, actually, it's very cool topic to discuss about.
Okay, so we're at the end, or the end-ish of it for real. Is there something that you want to say to the users?
Keep using the product, and we really appreciate it if we get any kind of feedback, new ideas, bug reports, whatever. But basically, all feedback is really, really valuable to us.
Yeah, I agree. We don't do this for ourselves, so we are doing this for you. So if you have any ideas how we do, how or what should we do different way, or are there any features you are missing, so keep them coming.
So to give feedback, you can actually just go on the Lens forums, and that's as easy as posting a topic, and you can just log in on the forum with your Lens ID. So yeah, that's easy peasy. And the team is very much active on the forums, I would say, like to answer questions or just to read the posts. So yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys for being here today and for answering all of my questions and being good sports. I hope you had fun. I hope the viewers had fun also. Yeah, so that was it. Thank you very much. And see you next time for the Lens Dev Stream 3.